Welcome into Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Stranger, Sports Map Houston. That's Joel Blank of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can hear him on the Killer Bees weekdays at noon here on ESPN Houston. Joel, welcome in. I want to talk with you about some NBA. This week, the NBA released their TV schedule for the upcoming regular season. And what's interesting is that the Rockets get a total of 4 nationally televised games. Now, I'm putting nationally in air quotes because 3 of those are on NBA TV. Not everybody gets that channel. Their lone game on ESPN will be a matchup against the NBA's first and second overall picks with Detroit visiting Houston, so that should be fun. But if you're thinking, that doesn't seem like a lot of games to be featured, well, you're right. They are tied with 4 other teams for the fewest TV games, and especially compared to the Lakers, in contrast, who have 42 nationally televised games. But hey, we get it. They're a bigger brand. But here are the other 4 teams that have the same amount of national TV games as the Rockets. Cleveland, Orlando, OKC, and Minnesota. So, Joel, I have to ask you, I know the Rockets were not good last year, but does that amount of games seem proportionate to you given the amount of names on this roster compared to those other small market teams?
Honestly, Brandon, it does. And I think that when you take being a Houston sports fan out of the equation, when you look at it, and I was in those meetings and I know how the league thinks and I also know how the Rockets think, and I know the Rockets aren't happy about this, but you have to be realistic about where your team is as opposed to where it was. And reputation only gets you so far. The James Harden era is over. And as much as everyone in Houston is excited about Jalen Green and the 19-year-olds and the development of Kevin Porter Jr. and Kenyon Martin Jr. and all these different things, it's not going to sell advertisements on ESPN and ABC and TNT, and it's going to be a little while before the Rockets get back to the prominence from a national perspective that they'd like to be at and what they're used to being at as a basketball team. And it's just kind of like the ebbs and flows of the league. And as part of a rebuilding team's process, one of the things that you have to process internally is you're not going to get as much exposure and you're not going to be as popular. Now, if Jalen Green goes off, they can revise the schedule throughout the season. And if there's a dog of a game that no one wants to see, they can switch the schedule up and possibly add the Rockets. So the best thing you can hope for is the young Rockets are really exciting to watch and don't care if they win or lose, just the fact that they're entertaining. And because that's what's going to sell. That's what's going to draw people's attention to the Houston Rockets and want to see them on TV. If Green goes off and he's competing for Rookie of the Year and he's on Sports Center frequently, you're going to get a lot of interest, and therefore they'll start revising the schedule. So not all hope is lost, but as a Rockets fan with where this team is in a rebuild mode, it's something that you're going to have to accept for the short term.
Are there any benefits to them flying under the radar here?
I think so early on because there's going to be growing pains. I think the young team is going to probably have some struggles as they try and define their roles and understand what is expected of all of them and learn the NBA in a lot of these rookies' cases. I think it's going to take some bumps and bruises along the way before they start polishing their product and really understanding their craft on the next level. So I think that there are some benefits there. The other benefit is that you're going to see them every night on AT&T Sportsnet. So as a Rockets fan, to get Rockets announcers talking positively about your Rockets team, it's a heck of a lot better than having the national pundits pick holes in everything that the Rockets do and magnify every mistake. So there are some positives from that regard.
All right, well, I want to talk more about the implications. You touched on something very interesting about that Rookie of the Year dynamic. But before we do that, give us a word from Fitz Roofing.
We love Fitz Roofing because they're dedicated to the people of Houston, Texas, just like they're dedicated to us here at SportsMap. The main thing about Fitz Roofing is the fact that whether you're a business or a homeowner and you want to get a roof repair or a new roof done, there's only one place to go. It's Fitz Roofing because they have the best warranties in the business, the best ratings in the business, and they use the best product. And better than all of that, they come out and see what your problem is and tell you exactly what they can do for absolutely free. Nothing to charge you at all. You just make sure you make the appointment. They come out and tell you what they can do. Call them today, 832-521-3001. Fitz Roofing, making a difference, one home at a time.
Joel, we've heard guys like your friend Charles Barkley say that he doesn't watch all the regular season games, but guys like him do get votes for Rookie of the Year. How does a lack of TV exposure impact a rookie's hype?
Well, it can have acted both positively and negatively, because if you're a guy that's getting the hype right from the jump, and it looks like of the top 2 picks, it's not going to be Jalen Green, it's going to be Cade Cunningham that's going to be exposed early on. If he drops the ball, then there's a chance that someone could pick it up. If SportsCenter and all of the national news segments on sports are picking up highlights of Jalen Green, it can build the brand, pump up the product, and get more exposure. Now, early on, it obviously hurts Green to not be on national TV. That means the games themselves. But if he puts together some highlight reel moves, if Kevin Porter Jr. is able to parlay what he's done this offseason with all the pro leagues he's been playing in and the NBA talent that he's been abusing, and he does that for the Rockets, there's going to be people taking notice, and therefore they're going to get more exposure both on SportsCenter and also getting more games out there. So there's advantages and disadvantages, but I think as a Rockets fan, be patient. It's not like the end of the world, and it's probably a good thing early on. We saw what happened when Green found Cade Cunningham the first time. He got a little nervous, turned the ball a few times over early, and then settled in. If you just have patience until they settle in, they're going to be just fine, and I think people are going to start really liking what they see in this young, exciting Rockets team.